Hello everybody, my name is Zach, aka the Weather Gamer, bringing you Week 4 standings, kill leaders, and transactions for WWC, the World Weather Cup league that I run. Before I get into this, I do have a couple of things to announce for the league. Unfortunately, we lost a coach. Giran and the Lofton Lycanrocks withdrew from the league for personal reasons. They have been replaced by Adian and the... Oh, why'd you do this to me, dude? This is a weird name to say. I'm actually just gonna have to look this up real quick, because, I don't 100% know how to pronounce it, and I can't remember it off the top of my head, and I should know this. It's the Polyraths, but I don't remember the first part of it here. The Parenke Polyraths? Adian, if you could comment how I'm supposed to say that, that'd be great. Thank you. But yeah, the Parenke Polyraths are taking over for the Lofton Lycanrocks. Giran just had to leave for personal reasons. It's unfortunate. Hopefully he'll be able to come back for Season 2. Various other things. The other thing is we unfortunately had one match that was not able to be played this week due to scheduling conflicts. Luckily, the coaches have agreed to move their match to Week 7 when the bye week for the league occurs. That is why the bye week was built into this league, was in order for any coaches that needed to move a match for reasons, and the coaches agreed not to have a forfeit be awarded. Week 7 was when the makeup matches were to occur. So that's going to affect the standings, the kill leaders a little bit, obviously because some Mons that could have been on the kill leaderboard did not get their chance this week to battle. Some Mons that were on the leaderboard did not battle and have subsequently fallen off. And the standings for those two coaches have been changed because of one less game. They've been forced down the standings until that game is played. So kicking things off, we have, starting in 12th place, the West Texas Leafeons. It's actually a tie for 12th place between the West Texas Leafeons and Louisiana Luxrays, both at 0-4 minus 18. The Leafeons played a very, very close match against the Oss Dragonites. A few switches, a few changes in prep. I think letting the Charizard go down right away was a mistake. A few switch-ins that needed to be changed, and the Leafeons could have had a real shot at closing this down to possibly a 1-0 loss, or even potentially grabbing a 1-0 victory for their first victory of the season. The Leafeons are getting very good at their team prep, and their match versus the Oss Dragonites will be the match of the week. That will be going up tomorrow, as well as the team builder for Week 4 for the Week 5 for the Chicago Bearticks. So double upload tomorrow. Louisiana Luxrays were 6-0'd by the Baltimore Murkrows. Their team is very weak to ice, and unfortunately counters for ice have not been brought with all the ice weaknesses, bringing Garchomp, Sceptile, Donphan, and what else did they bring? Dragonite, Garchomp, Sceptile, and Donphan. Those four all on the same week. While they had their own various roles, they were all severely weak to an HP Ice or an Ice Beam, which the Baltimore Murkrows took full advantage of. My recommendation for the Luxrays would be to make some transactions and potentially clean up some of those weaknesses. I don't foresee much improvement potential without making a few changes. I think, at least to the Mons, there's a few things missing from this team that need some free agent help. Also, prepping for ice type moves would be good, whether that be with a Yachi Berry on something. Also, mixed sets, while they can work, they don't work as well because now you're splitting between a physical and a special, whereas you can, if you run physical or special, you can generally focus down on that. So bringing a mixed Dragonite was not probably the best, but it was a hard battle against the Murkrows. They're very bulky, as it has been seen every week, and so a little bit of luck, the Luxrays can bounce themselves back. Same with the Leafeons, and same with the Chicago Claunchers, 0-4, -14. 10th place, they played the Tampa Bay Weasels. They had a very good team build, good team prep. Mega Salamence has been an absolute monster this league. Mega Salamence will not be returning for Season 2. I have made that decision after watching Mega Salamence just rip through teams and not have a single answer, even though I had thought I had calculated answers and had found things that could wall Mega Salamence. I was wrong, and I fully admit that I was wrong, and so Mega Salamence is going back in its cage at the end of this season. This will be the one and only season for Mega Salamence. And again, I apologize to all the coaches who have faced or will face Mega Salamence and potentially be destroyed by it. That was a mistake on my part. The Claunchers had a great plan. I know they brought Scarfed Cloyster to kind of deal with that, potentially get a Ice Shard off. They also had, I'm looking up their sets real quick. Yes, so the Choice Scarf Cloyster with Icicle Spear to try and deal with that. They had a, let's see, what else did they have to deal with that? They had a Aggron holding an air balloon with Ice Punch and Rock Slide to try and hit it. They had an Aerodactyl with Ice Fang and Rock Slide as well to hit. Latios with Ice Beam and an Expert Belt, all of which could have done a lot of work. And they brought Scolipede with a Figgy Berry, with Protect, Sub, Baton Pass, and Megahorn. And honestly, I think that was a very good set. In another league, I am running a Scolipede, and that looks like a set that I would run as well. The whole goal behind that is to get speed boosts and then Baton Pass them out in order for a sweeper to come in. I think the biggest mistake that was made during the match with the Claunchers versus the Dragonites, not the Dragonites, versus the Weasels. The biggest mistake was Baton passing into Physical Cloyster. Had they Baton passed that speed into Latios, I believe only Heatran would have sat in front of Latios and not been severely hurt by it, because Latios would have been at 872 speed, outspeeding everything and running damage calcs. The Latios would have killed everything brought by, had a move with Expert Belt, would have killed everything except for that Heatran. That Heatran would have sat in front of Latios, but they had other options to beat that. So speed passing into a Physical Mon after an Intimidate, I think, was the biggest mistake. And just, again, the thing that I see every week with the Little Penguin's the coach, with the Claunchers, is just remembering physical special split and working on your predictions. I think if Little Penguin gets his predictions down, the Quanchers are going to go a long way. And I fully expect to see the Quanchers, as they've improved all season, I fully expect the Quanchers to pick up their first win here at some point. So moving into our next round of 3, this is where we have our issue with coaches not getting a game played. First off, the Polyraths did not play the match this week. Gearin played the match and then resigned after the match. So they take over a 1-3 squad -8, sitting in 9th place. We'll see what they can do with that. It's a little bit of a handicap to take over a team that's 1-3 -8, but it can be turned around. There are still 7 weeks to go. They could finish 8-3 with a positive differential by sweeping through the rest of the league and end up in the playoffs. So, clean slate for the Polyraths. Not much to say about the game for Gearin. Just gonna leave it at that. And then here come the 2 coaches that didn't get their match played, which includes me. And the Chicago Bearticks in 8th at 2-1 -2. Same as last week, and the Dutch Pyrors at 2-1 -1. We dropped to 8th and 7th because of the last one less game played. One of us will end up being 2-2, and depending on differential, could slide into 6th or 5th position. No, could only slide into 6th position. So one of the 2 of us could end up in the 6th position this week, but unfortunately, Torn, coach of the Dutch Pyrors, just was unable to find a time where it worked out for both of us to play our match, and I do not want to accept a forfeit win from Torn. He's one of my greatest friends. He's been with me since the very beginning of launching my YouTube and Twitch channel. He's been there since I launched my Discord server, which will be info for it down in the description down below. So I do not want to take a forfeit loss from him. I'm more than willing to work out a time for both of us to play. Hopefully week 7 we'll have a little more room, a little more time and ability to play the match. He started school last week, and so did I, and so just adjusting to our first week of school and our school schedules, neither one of us was able to find a time where it really matched up and worked. So we'll catch it week 7, and we'll get back on track then. And it's going to be a very good match. I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully all of you are as well. Moving into our top 6, our current playoff positions, we have the NB Garchomps at 2-2 +3. The Garchomps should potentially have had a higher differential, potentially have pulled off a win. Unfortunately, there was an issue with a misclick that occurred, whether it was Showdown that the move was clicked and Showdown changed which move was clicked, or whether it was an honest misclick. Cannot be said at this point. However, the Garchomps had a misclick, and it ended up costing them the momentum, and more than likely costing them the game. So, unfortunately, that happened. It happens. You just bounce back from it and move on. We'll have to keep an eye out to make sure that there's nothing wrong with Showdown, because this league runs in Showdown. But they're 2-2 +3, currently sitting in the 6th spot for playoffs. Coming in the 5th spot, also 2-2, but +6, the Ottawa Centrets. Megalodios got a clean sweep against the Lofton Lycanrocs, and that's all I have to say about that match. They're the 5th seed at 2-2 +6. Coming in at 4th, also +6, but with a 3-1 record, the Copenhagen Cacturns, currently sitting in 4th, moving up a spot from last week after the loss. Again, the Cacturns were the beneficiary of the NB Garchomps misclick, so how the outcome of these standings had that misclick not occurred hard to say, but both teams are still in the top 6. Both teams would be in playoffs if the season were to end today. Moving into our top 3. Top 3 looking pretty much the same as it has all season, for the most part. We have the Baltimore Murkrows sitting at 3-1 plus 14. They played the Louisiana Lux Rays this week and had a decisive 6-0 win. HP Ice, Ice Beam, Ice Moves basically running shot through the Lux Rays team. Again, bulky team, so it's even harder to take down if they're returning fire and punching holes and knocking out Mons. The OSS Dragonites, 4-0 plus 13, sitting in second. One of the 2 remaining undefeated teams. They played a very good match. They had a very good match played against them in Mumanish and the West Texas Leafeons. Had Mumanish played a little better, their match would have been much closer. All in all, though, the Dragonites continue to bring well-built sets, plenty of coverage, and are sitting very nicely in second place at 4-0 plus 3. And the top 3 teams are currently sitting very well over the next 3. So expect these 3 to be your top 3, probably remaining for the season, barring a disaster or another team really starting to run up on them. Once these 3 start playing each other and cannibalizing each other, you might see them drop. So it'll be interesting to see. And finally, the Tampa Bay Weasels sitting at 4-0 plus 19 and riding the back of Mega Salamence to the top of the leaderboard. Until they face a team that can take down Mega Salamence, I don't foresee the Weasels moving out of first. Once Salamence goes down, I could see the Weasels being knocked out of first, potentially. So moving into our kill leaders. A lot of the familiar faces, a lot of the same faces that have been hanging around for a while. These aren't the right kill counts. Whoops. And I don't have my editing software learned yet, so I can't go back and edit this in post, so we're going to live edit it. Assuming my computer catches up here. There we go. Come on, sheet. Let's go into our standings here. Thank you very much. So, Mega Salamence is still sitting in first with a 15-0 record, plus 15 overall differential. We have Magearna jumping Victini this week into second with 9 kills, 2 deaths, and a plus... sorry, not 2 deaths. That's Victini's I was looking at. 1 death, plus 8 differential. Victini also sitting at 9 kills, but it now has 2 deaths, making it plus 8, keeping it out of second place and allowing Magearna to jump up. Coming in fourth out of nowhere is Megalodios. Megalodios had a very clean sweep this week. 8 kills total for the season, 1 death, making it plus 7. And this week it is our fastest riser, jumping all the way up to 4th. Since it jumped to 4th, Kafagrigus got pushed down. However, Kafagrigus did pick up another kill. Finally, it's about time it killed something besides me. So it's now 6-0 plus 6, sitting in 5th. We have a tie for 6th, not 7th. Tie for 6th between the Magnezone, formerly of the Lofton Lycanrocs, and Megalopunny of the Os Dragonites, both sitting at 5 kills, 2 deaths, and it. Whoops. 2 deaths, not 0-2. 2 deaths, and a plus 3 differential. Sorry about this. I promise this will not happen again. Also, coming in at 8th, following up right behind its teammate Megalopunny, is Infernape. Infernape actually did not hit the field this week. Was not brought against in its match, so it continues to sit with 4 kills, 0 deaths, which is enough to keep it in the top 10. Coming into 9th place, tie for 9th place actually, we have the Dutch Pyroars holding on to their position with, what's this thing's name? Darmanitan, 4 kills, 1 death. Same thing for Alolan Muck. Darmanitan stays in the top 10 just by the skin of its teeth, even though it didn't play a match. I'm sure had it played its match, it probably would have gotten a kill or 2, potentially allowing it to jump up into the, or remain in the top 10 and possibly jump higher than Infernape, which did not play its match, play in the match this week. And Alolan Muck picking up a few kills to get itself in the top 10 as well. So all in all, we're seeing 3 of the mons that I unbanned, which I fully expected, although I did not expect it to be Megaladios. I expected it to be Megaladios that was coming up in. Magearna moving up ahead of Victini is a little surprising. I think Victini and Magearna are going to go back and forth for that 2nd place, and I don't believe Salamence is coming off the board out of 1st. I think Salamence is going to comfortably sit in 1st and run away with it. So yeah, moving into the transactions. I made my final transaction of the season. I dropped Trevenant 1 week after picking it up for Lilligant. Trevenant's slow. I don't really care for slow mons, and also in my draft for the GPC, the Galactic Pokemon Championship, I drafted Lilligant, and I'm learning that Lilligant is actually a very good grass type, which is something that I needed with Roserade not hitting the field at all this season so far, and no potential plans to bring Roserade in the future. Roserade is actually up for trade, so if any of the WWC coaches are watching and you want Roserade, I'm more than willing to give it away. And I need something that can reliably set Earthquake and set Rocks. So if you have an Earthquaker that you'd like to swap for a Roserade, hit me up. All in all, I think Lilligant will do better for me. It gives me a solid grass type that I can bring, and something a little better. Plus, I'm interested to see how I can play around with it. And now I have 2 leagues to run around with it. West Texas Leafeon's dropping Durant for Dugong. I don't know what Dugong does. I know it's water-ice types, do stab ice, stab water. Durant wasn't really a good fit with the Sun. It does not appreciate fire-type moves, and Sun-boosted fire-type moves are not good at all. So it would be interesting to see what Dugong does, because I've never used it. I'm guessing it's probably a poor man's Cloyster. And then the Poliwraths. So they made 4 moves. They did not burn all of their free agent moves, though. When coaches take over in this league, they get 3 moves to make the team their own, in addition to the 4 free agent moves that they get per season. So they dropped Ninjask for Turtonator. I don't know what Turtonator does other than it's Fire Dragon. It has that special move Shell Trap, so it's basically a super protect. So if it gets struck, it bounces back. Dropping Cryogonal for Muck. I assume Muck is just a little less bulky than Alolan Muck, but does the same things. Whimsicott for Delmise, getting a Grass Ghost type, or Grass Steel. Is it Grass Ghost or Grass Steel? Something like that. Giving up Prankster Whimsicott, and dropping Nidoking for Sylveon. I don't understand dropping the Nidoking for Sylveon. Nidoking was doing great work for the Lycanrocs, and maybe Sylveon's just a piece that they felt would do better work. If I had any more free agent moves and had the points to do it, I'd go grab Nidoking. But unfortunately I can't. Be interesting to see what they do with Sylveon. Dropping Cryogonal, they lose a fast Rapid Spinner, but they picked up a Rapid Spinner in Delmise. Delmise is also, I believe, if it's a Grass Ghost type, which I'm pretty sure it is. Delmise. Okay, yeah, whatever. Cerebi, shoutouts to Cerebi for being a great website. Delmise is Ghost Grass. Yep, Ghost Grass. So, not only does it rapid spin, but it also prevents other things from rapid spinning on it, forcing defog. It's got the Anchor Shot to trap Pokemon. Granted, it can't Toxic Trap, but the Anchor Shot will trap something in and allow the Delmise to get kills that way. Losing Prankster, especially putting up like Prankster Tailwind or Prankster Taunt or something, might come back to hurt, but I think they covered their Fairy base and their Grass base by picking up Delmise and Sylveon. So we'll see. I'm interested to see how the Poliwraths run and what they do with the team and how they move on with it. And that is going to end the week 4, standings, kill leaders, and transactions. Again, this is Zach, aka the Weather Gamer. All the links to my Discord server if you want to come hang out with me in the Discord server. My Twitch channel if you want to come check me out when I stream. Right now, I know I said I was going to stream Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or at least try to, as well as Saturday and Sundays. I think I'm going to just drop that to streaming Saturday nights and Sundays, and just work on YouTube during the week and do my schoolwork and that during the week, and then spend the weekends with anybody that wants to come hang out with me. As well as my Twitter, if you want to follow me on Twitter to see when I go live, because I always post when I go live there. As well as Griffin Feathers, the wonderful artist that made the cute little cast form down on the right-hand side there, who is also my main artist for the channel. His link will be in the description down below. Go ahead and give him a follow and let him know that I sent him your way. So that will conclude this week's video. I will catch you guys around. Thank you.